There in Dad's place, taking some stuff back over and looking for some stuff for groceries to, see where our groceries were at. And Dad was watching Michael Youssef. The one he was talking about yesterday. Some people pray to God and think they're being a bother and all. And it was talking about King David in the cave, hiding from Saul, right? And I've never read the story. And my dad has. So I'm sitting there and he goes, he had this great victory. It's like killing somebody because you can't talk them into worshiping Jehovah is a great victory to you. You're one Roman sick little bitch, aren't you? Why don't you go do advertising for the people at the Olympics? We'll talk about the history of the Olympics in a minute. But no, he sits there. David was so mad. Oh, he's fit to be tied. Jesus, I was in here trying to fix some artwork and hang some stuff up. And David won't get out of my head. I'm like, David, King David, you gracious good shepherd of Israel, you leave me alone. He's like, Earl. He sat there and said that, David had lied to Jonathan, got Jonathan to lie for him. That's what it was. Got Jonathan to lie for him to his dad Saul, right? Ran off and hid after this great victory or killing Goliath. And he had become a bad person. And it's like, let's get this straight. Okay, Samuel kills the Philistine guy and tells Saul he's worthless and then says, I'm going to go. The Lord told me in prayer that the prophet king is in Jesse's house and it's Cinder David, right? He goes and gets David and says, this is the guy. Remember, David, sweet little 15, 16-year-old David who plays the harp. And he's like, yeah, but, they put him out in the field by himself as a young kid, like Judah did with Joseph, with Jacob. But David survived. He didn't lose the ram or anything like that. He asked for help from the spirit of Joseph and others, and he got the big stick and hits the bear between the eyes and roar and scares it away, gets a slingshot and makes it. The wolves come, and instead of the wolves getting the ram, he sits there with a slingshot from far away. Wham, wham, takes out the lieutenants and the alpha, runs them off. And he's like 12 years old, okay, like a good Apache kid, like Tisna, right? Like Taza, like Nachi, right? Just doing what they got to do to survive. Little Hawk doing the Sundance at 13 or whatever he was. He was very young. But so it's King David, right? And there's not as barbaric as some of the stuff the Apaches, the Sioux, they're not called the Sioux. That's their enemy name, like the Navajo. They're the Dene. And the tribe for the Sioux is a group of people that have a similar language group, but you have the Minneconjou, the Hunkpapa, okay, so on. So it's, the Sioux is a name given to them by the French, meaning cutthroats. They'll cut your throat. Okay. It's not a good name. No, and neither is Navajo or Apache. That means enemy also. Okay, so it's not a good name, but they want you to have that name to put fear in you so you don't come invade their land and rape and loot and pillage. And if they start raping, loot, and pillages, they correct their own. Okay, if he starts going against our values, we'll kill him, like Cochise did with Galatle, and your name's now Geronimo, right? And so, but David was pissed. He's like, this guy's talking about what a horrible person I am, and what a bad person I am, okay? He stands up to Goliath, kills Goliath. The plan you got to understand, Samuel has left Saul and says, you're an abomination to Hebrew faith, and I'm going to go find the real prophet king, and it's in Jesse's house, this guy David, and he's 15 years old, and Saul's scared of him. Okay, because the prophet's king's supposed to be able to kill, he's supposed to be almost like superhero-like. It's real hard to kill, and he can kill anybody. He doesn't know because he's so sweet, like me. When they took me to Sierra Vista, and I'm like, that's right, no blunt force trauma in the car accident. It was a bit of a... ran that fastest time, but slowed down not to embarrass. Jesus did it. Jesus told me, don't, Earl, slow down, look over there, skip back. No, coast, Yeah, I was 16 years old. Ran faster than the Lyles kid, the Thompson kid, the Bolt kid, Jesse Owens, Carl Lewis. You know how Carl Lewis's progeny sat there and got all cocky when he beat Riles in the course, looked around and got all like Carl Lewis used to do. You want to know what made Ben Johnson a steroid addict? Carl Lewis. Carl Lewis was the best, and he was very arrogant. He was arrogant, and he's like Jackie Robinson. Those are niggers and stuff. And Ben Johnson was kind of he's from Canada, so he was kind of like, I agree, those guys act like thugs and hooligans, and it's all us black people that run track a bad name. He's a Canadian kid, so Ben Johnson tries to be his friend. And Carlos, you're not good enough, you never be as good as me. So he takes steroids to kick his ass. Hey, Devil Wears Prada. Right? That's all I got to say about that. Is that Meryl Streep? Is that Sandra Bullock? Oh, this film's going to be flawless, right? Okay. You got to understand how bitches think. I didn't know. They had to take me to Sierra Vista, Arizona. What's going on? It's a bitch fest. How do bitches think? Don't want to. Then I had to sit there for years and go, I want to know what makes you cry. And then I had to find out. And then I found out and I was like, well, Don't Make Me Over was written by a man and not a dude, but he might be homosexual. Who knows? But you're sitting there going, back wreck? I don't know. This might go both ways. Yeah, he's probably got some Quincy Jones up in the gas tank. But that motherfucker can sleep with anybody. Oh, how Phil Spector of you. But how Saul of you. Okay? Saul was a bad person. David got up to protect people from being eunuched and turned into sex slaves, and so we could all live Hebrew faith. Saul betrays him, tries to assassinate him and kill him. And he has to tell Jonathan, who's his best friend, and David doesn't want to kill his best friend's biological father, okay? And so he sits there and tells your dad, tell your dad this, right? And then even after that, he still doesn't want to kill Saul, okay? Just like with Abner. Abner didn't want to kill his own people. He wanted to live among his own people. And he had to sit there, and when he had to finally kill people, he goes and tells Saul, I didn't want to do it, I had to. They were trying to kill me. And Saul goes, oh, okay. And then outside the city laws, he has Joab and the others there waiting for him to ambush him and kill him. And then David sits there. I've never read these stories. David tells me. Okay. Everybody else goes and reads and studies them and Bible studies every year. David just comes in and goes, oh, and I go, what? Blah, 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 blah. He's grouchy. King David comes in my head like Jesus. No, Jesus doesn't need to talk for David. David can talk for himself. King David's King David. Jesus ain't King David. King David is. And King David ain't Jesus, okay? Just like Judah Krishnamurti said about Siddhartha and the Krishna. I am neither the Krishna or the Siddhartha Buddha be. My name is Judah Krishnamurti, okay? That's who I am. That's who I was the day I was born, and that's who I will be through my life. And after I die, I will be known as Judah Krishnamurti. Not the Krishna, not the Buddha, but Judah. Like Patrick, black, white, what are you? Patrick. Okay? Do you understand? Like that one lady in Sierra Vista. She sits there, well, what are you? I said, of the 5 in the woodpile of all the tribes that I have, how many, what 4 would you have me kill off so I could be one? She goes, you like this with everybody? Yeah, because I'm intelligent. Okay? What I knew in the woodpile back then was British Parsons, Irish Murphy, okay, Kramer, which was German Jew, and all the genetics and the hair and the face, and it was supposed to be either this Bonnell French guy or Musselwhite, a Cherokee. Okay, according to the Mormon Church, there's no Jew in Kramer, and there's no Musselwhite in my grandmother. All the genetics look like my grandmother's Cherokee. She had the same skin, the hair, everything. But French people, I don't know. I can't tell you. But it doesn't matter to me if grandma's Cherokee or French. Okay? Pascal's French. Okay? So I'm not going to sit there, oh, damn, we're French. The Messiah was French. Okay? So you understand. On the female side, there might have been some Hebrew. I don't know. I don't know if that's required because Ruth is from another line, from the North migration. And Jesus, that day that Poncha told me that when we got the genetics back from old Ancestry, Mormon, makeupyourownreligion.com, they sit there and, if God, first of all, I was like, guys, grandma had the nose and her name's Kramer, which means Jewish. Who's going to call themselves a Jew in 19th and 20th century Germany? Which, okay, defies all logic and reason, but our grandma does it anyway because she's crazy. I just like being abused. It feels good. I'm a sadomasochist. Call me Kramer. Okay, do you understand? So, I don't know. But then I was driving home after Ponch told me, we're not Jews, so they're Earl. You're not who you say you are. And Jesus laughs and goes, Earl. And I go, what? He goes, me and David are from what? Ruth's line. Not a Jew. Not a Jew. Right, okay. So it's like, don't worry about it, okay? The faith of Father Abraham doesn't have anything to do with sexual intercourse. Just ask Saul, Goliath, and the rest of the bitches that say David was a bad man, and they think they're good enough to be a good man like David. Okay? If you're good enough to stand up to all the whores, from the League of Nations to the UN, to the New World Order, to the Vatican, all kinds of genocidal organizations pretending to be religious people, but they act like Saul and the Philistines, okay? And stand up without fear because life is eternal and grace is infinite, and help the children deliver themselves from evil, then this is a prayer barn, not a prayer cave. Prayer barn. It's a darn prayer barn there, it's a prayer barn. This is the prayer barn. It's also got disco ball lights at night that are really cool, yeah. With the mirror above that, it just lights up the whole room now. It's really cool, yeah. It's better than the disco John Travolta's in while he's out making himself into a studly multi-millionaire science project while the woman he allegedly loved at the time was dying of cancer, but he had money to make and love to fake. I'm gonna stay alive. Where you should be all the time. Hey, where's the wife of a close friend? Okay. We'll fly your Learjet up to Nova Scotia. I'm not picking on him. I'm trying to get him to get straight. Somebody shows up publicly and says, let's live the Lord's Prayer and recognize the Messiah. We're working faster and better than we ever were before.